You're listening to Potty Mouth Radio, the home of movies, music, television, and comedy. The following podcast contains spoilers and rude words. We watch a thing. We watch a thing. Hello, and welcome back to We Watched a Thing with Billy and Dave. How you doing, mate?
I'm good. How are you, my friend?
That's good. I'm excellent. We watched a good movie this week.
I know.
There is nothing new out, or nothing good new out at least. Although I think that's kind of been true for most of this year.
Well, I should say I watched two good things this week.
Oh, did
Just
you?
feeling the need to shout it out after listening to the countdown. The other good thing was the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. You negative fuckers.
I mean, I haven't watched it yet, but you know that I was a big fan of Rouge de Guerre.
That was a piece of shit. This is the best. This is Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. I reckon's the best thing he's done since The Gentleman. That's
right.
and that was the only good thing he'd done since
Snatch.
fucking rock and roller. Or
any fight scenes in it?
not that made my top 5 favorite, but. Look, I think it's worth seeing.
All right. Well, we're not talking about the Ministry of Ungentlemanly, whatever the fuck it is, this week. We're talking about 2011 film The Raid, Indonesian action thriller film.
Raid Redemption.
Yes, which has just been re-released in cinemas in 4K. I don't know whether it's to celebrate its 10-year release in US, Western countries or what that's for. But anyway, it's out at the moment in cinemas if you want to go revisit the magic. So we thought, hell, why not talk about it and tack on our top 5 fight scenes in film while we're at it? So let's get straight into it. The Raid, as I said, is a 2011 Indonesian action thriller film written and directed by Gareth Evans and stars Iko Uwais, Joe Taslim, Donny Alamsyah, Ray Sahetapi, and Yayan Ruian.
Yayan Ruian.
And I'm sure I nailed all of those names.
It's nice work, old man. Nice work.
And what's it about, mate?
It's about a bunch of kind of SWAT team style cops who are mounting a raid on this apartment block that is pretty much entirely occupied by nasty drug criminals.
Yep.
With the odd family who just must hate their lives. And during the course of proceedings, they find out that this is not a sanctioned raid, so they can't call backup or anything, and they just need to fight their way through this entire seemingly endless tsunami of machete and automatic weapon wielding martial arts thugs.
Yep.
And it's basically a 90-minute action scene.
I mean, yeah, pretty much. Let's
directed in Indonesia by a Welshman.
Yeah. Yep. Let's hop straight into it then. So as I said at the end of last week's episode, I kind of cheekily admitted that I actually had not seen this film before, which I've heard so much about this film.
I'm so intrigued to know what you thought of it.
Especially in the movie podcasting community, this movie comes up all the fucking time. It's like Train to Busan. It's one of those movies that everybody just raves about how good it is. I haven't seen. What's the other Gareth Evans movie that he did? We Are the Night or something? Something about the night?
There's one that precedes this one, which I also with Iko Uwais, which I haven't seen, called
The Night Comes for Us is the one I was.
No. That's
after. Yeah.
There's the Raid. There's the Raid 2, which is not quite as good, but it's got one good scene. And then there's the night comes, whatever, which I also haven't seen. Which also has Iko Uwais and I believe, and Joe Taslim possibly, or Yayan Ruian. I'm not sure, but it's definitely got Iko Uwais. Haven't seen any of them. I've only seen the first Raid and I think Raid 2.
Well, I'm going to say something maybe controversial, but I want you to keep in mind that I hadn't seen the movie. I think
hashtag film Twitter. Here it comes. It's the Tenet review all over again.
No. Look, unlike Tenet, this is actually a good movie. I think the thing is, this was a matter of expectations.
Expectations are a killer.
Which I think I've heard so much about this movie. I went in really expecting balls to the wall action, and here's the thing: I am not a big gun action guy. Gun action sequences do nothing for me. I think they're boring for the most part, I think. To me, guns only work when you use the tension in the scene rather than as action, because there's no exciting choreography generally to a gunfight scene. Like, the gunfight scenes in this movie are good.
Don't base all your opinions on John Wick. There are good gunfight scenes as well.
I've only seen the first John Wick. I wasn't a fan of it, so I didn't bother continuing. So, look, I was expecting much more hand-to-hand combat in this movie. So for the first 45, 50 odd minutes...
Quite a bit.
Not to start with. The first kind of 50 minutes of this movie is just gunfight after gunfight. And look, there's some cool stuff going on, but until we get into the hand-to-hand combat martial arts segment of this film, I was kind of bored for the first, third of this movie. Once we get into it and it really takes off, I love it. Like, I'm a big martial arts fan. The final fight, which goes for, a good 10 odd minutes, where they finally take down Mad Dog, is fucking great. And so by that point, I'd finally warmed up to the film. But I was bored for the first third of this film.
Look, I'm not going to mock you. I'll do my admission now and really try and get us cancelled. Look, it is one of the all-time great action films, I think, because there are some attempts at character, particularly towards the end when it's his brother's there and there's some stuff there. But really, this is an excuse to show off non-stop action from start to finish. And the good part of that is that it's non-stop action from start to finish. The downside is the first third of this film, a lot more kind of samey, boring than I remember.
I mean, I like I said, for me, I'm just not into guns. I think if you're talking about an excuse to show off action, I didn't love it, but I think Monkey Man is a better example of that. I think
didn't
Monkey
even bother
Man
with that because everyone was slagging it off.
I think it's a worse movie than this, but I think it's an excuse to show off action, which is what it is. I think it.
But if that's
the
case, you've got Extraction and you've got Extraction 2, which are both outstanding films.
Yeah.
I know, but I'm reminding you that you promised to see both of them when we were on. We had Sean Carney on, which it may have been pre-COVID. It's that long ago. But I did find the first third of the Raid not as exciting as I remember it being. Possibly because it's now been 13 years or 12 years or something. It's been and we've had Extraction 2, Atomic. There's a long list of things that we may or may not touch on some of when we get to the second half of this episode.
Yeah,
and I think in light of those, where I think the acting is better, there is more story. There's they possibly those films possibly wouldn't exist without things like The Raid and
100%. Like
so I'm not casting aspersions, but I think having now seen a number of those films, the shortcomings, such as they are with The Raid, are more do become apparent. However, I do think you mentioned the Mad Dog fight where you've got Ram and his brother in that big fight at the end. That's pretty great.
Yeah,
not my favorite fight scene in this film. I think there are a couple of scenes just with Rama versus a hall full of people, which are outside. The first of which is him with a tonfa, like a police baton thing, and a knife in the other hand, against maybe 150 guys with machetes just coming wave after. And that, I think, and like a lot of the stuff in this film, huge long fucking oneers where it's just how these guys could just physically do it is beyond me. But that scene with him solo against the army of guys with machetes, where he's blocking a machete with the tonfa and then he's stabbing the guy, and all the stabs in this are so fucking realistic.
And I mean, huge props to Gareth Evans. I think that the direction in this film is really wonderful. Like you mentioned the oneers, I think it's important to note that although there are some oneers in the film, there's a lot of fight. The whole film is a fight. There's a lot of sequences with quite a bit of editing. And it's not really good. It's not over-edited at all. It's edited perfectly. All of the shots have really good shot motivation from one to the next, which in a fight scene, often particularly in Hollywood films, they don't generally have as nice a flow as this film does.
The cuts where there are in the fight scenes in this are there to serve a purpose.
Very
they're
impressive.
either to move from room to room, or they're to convey more excitement. They're not there to hide the inadequacies of the performance.
Yes.
Which is what you get with a lot of Western
because the performances are
fight scenes.
great. And, that's something, when we get to our top 5, that's something I'll touch on, obviously. For me, performance is like 90% of it. I have some fights on my list that arguably you might shit on me for, telling me that they're not fighty enough, but I mean, we'll see when we get there.
I would never shit on someone else's taste.
So well, that's not true. I know already that you're planning to slag off Paul Pazula.
Only because he's not here and it's funny.
So yeah, look, I need to take a step back, because I don't want it to sound like I'm negative. I really, really liked this movie. This is a very good movie. My expectations were just set too high, and I think, look, I'm gonna admit it. I'm not a massive action movie guy in the sense of what has become modern action. I am a guy who needs a healthy layer of cheese with my action. I've said that before. Give me The Rock or Con Air. Like, I'm a monster movie guy. I'm a B-grade monster movie guy. Like, that to me is fun. I need to feel like I'm having fun with my action. So I don't tend to like quote-unquote gritty action that is not overly stylized, that's quite realistic. Yep. And I think that this actually kind of straddles that line. It's not cheesy, but it's also not, we're not really in the realm of reality here with these fights. Like,
no, these guys are, particularly when you get to
which is fun.
It's borderline superhero level by the time you get to the end.
Exactly. So once
particularly
you get to that
Mad
stuff,
Dog, who does most of that fight with a knife sticking out of his neck.
Yeah. So once you get to that stuff, once you get past that first half hour where the raid begins, and it's just, that first half hour really is a SWAT team with guns going in, and there's still some great sequences there.
It's like that university raid scene from Civil War recently, but about 10 times longer.
Exactly, yes.
But without variation, it's just more of the same.
Yeah. But once you get into more of those choreographed, deliciously fun fight scenes, the movie really picks up for me. So yeah, big fan by the end of it.
Yeah, it's weird. I was thinking while I was rewatching it today, I think, in fact, I don't think, I know, I prefer Dredd.
Yeah, okay.
Remind
me, is that also Gareth Evans?
No, Dredd was... It's Pete Travis. That was the weird thing. Who directed, weird things that don't necessarily sort of go hand in hand. He did like stuff on Marie Antoinette on TV.
Yeah.
Shakespearean things.
They do that. It's like when Mark Webb did Amazing Spider-Man right after his only film being 500 Days of Summer, and it's like, did you literally only do that because his name is Webb?
Yes. But for films that do that sort of game of death thing where you're going up a building floor by floor and there's different types of battles on each level. Dredd copped a lot of flack for seemingly copying the raid because it came out 2012. In actual fact, Dredd was made just before the raid, but all of the post-production and CG and everything took longer, and it ended up hitting cinemas afterwards. I prefer Dredd because I think there's a little bit more. I mean, the acting's obviously better. You've got genuinely good performers rather than martial artists who have started acting. Not all. I mean, those guys are fine and they've done some good performances. Iko Uwais has obviously gone on to. Joe Taslim's gone on to, he's been in, I think, some Marvel films and shit. They've all gone on to other things, but they're amazing silhouette martial artists that are in the film because of that.
Yeah.
Whereas Dredd, you've got really, really good performers like Carl Urban, Olivia Thirlby, Lena Headey, etc. And it's just very, very well directed and filmed and choreographed to get... the action scenes obviously aren't on the same level in terms of the fight scenes, but I prefer it as a film because I think as a whole it has more to it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the raid, highly recommended.
Oh,
If
definitely.
you like any sort of action, by all means, check it out. It's a great watch.
Particularly while it's back in cinemas in 4K. You know, I think that it's great they're doing stuff like that. I don't know if you caught it, but look, it may come up on one of our lists. But earlier this year, they re-released Old Boy in cinemas in 4K.
I didn't get to it. I think I had it on my sort of calendar. Oh, it's coming up.
Yeah.
And then I think it may have been when I got Crook for a couple of weeks and I just missed the window.
That was a great cinematic experience because I hadn't seen that in the cinemas before, and it's a fantastic movie.
So good.
And I'll say the same thing about this.
Is that your favourite Park Chan-wook film?
Yes.
Yeah, probably is mine as well, I think.
I'll say the same thing about this. If you haven't seen The Raid before, or even if you have, catching it in cinemas at the moment is highly recommended. So I'm
100%.
I'm an 8 out of 10. I'm still really high on this film. My expectations were just clearly too high.
Yeah, I'm an 8, I think, as well. You really can't go lower than that just because the fight scenes are so superlative.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it loses a couple of points for the lack of kind of acting and character and story and that, which subsequent films have added to that kind of recipe.
Well, let's get into it then with our top 5 favorite fight scenes in movies. Now, just to specify, these are favorites, not best. So it's like
I really need to stipulate that because I try. The 5 that are on my list came to me and were in my short list when I was just doing it off the top of my head, and then I thought I'm going to forget shit. So I went Googling best fight and then realized there are so many, once I started looking at YouTube clips of these, there are so many, particularly Eastern films and martial art films. There are, Donnie Yen films and things that have technically phenomenal fight scenes that are better than the shit I've got on my list.
Well, and we also...
if I hadn't seen the film, I didn't include them.
Yes.
And I just... I'm not equipped. I mean, I've done a bit of martial arts in my youth. I'm not quite the advocate that Wayne Arusa is, for example, but my nickname in high school was Ninja because I was kind of into all of that. But I'm by no means... I can't hand on heart gauge which scene is better in pure sort of martial arts fighting. So I've gone with the scenes that I like in films that I love.
Yeah.
And
same.
I'll die on the hill of these 5. I think they're all fantastic.
The other thing that's important to note is that we had no caveats. This isn't hand-to-hand fighting. This isn't gunfights. This isn't sword fights. It's any kind of fighting. So I actually found this list really, really hard to make. I was tossing things back and forth until late
reeling
today.
off a bunch of honourable mentions at the end. And the other thing which I don't normally do, but I did cast an eye over the Facebook group and the Messenger group, and I think I've left off anything that anyone else has mentioned.
Yeah.
Because I figured they're going to get some love when we go through that at the end.
Let's plug that now. If you aren't already on the Potty Mouth Radio listener Facebook group, go join it now. When we do topics like this, we ask, and we shout out at the end of the episode. There's, as you mentioned, that group also comes with the Messenger chat as well, which is a bit of fun. And go check out all the rest of the shows on the Potty Mouth Network. We've got, the one where we watched, where Noosk and I talk Friends. We've got the Hunt for the Perfect Album, which is you and I chatting music. And in fact, we were on live stream for The Cure just this past weekend, which managed to raise about $12,500 towards cancer research, which it was pretty great to be a part of that.
Indeed. Thank you to everyone who tuned in.
Yes.
And particularly donated.
We were counting down our favourite songs that start with C. Pretty sure that most of that $12,500 came from you personally trying to make Paul and Wayne from The Countdown eat hot sauce. But so that was great. Go check out all the rest of the shows on the Potty Mouth Network. But let's get into it. Why don't you kick us off with your 5th favourite?
Alrighty. This was the first one that came to mind, and I stand by it. It is a fight. This is a hand-to-hand fight scene, give or take a few sort of found objects. But it is a out-and-out brawl between Keith David and Rowdy Roddy Piper in the movie John Carpenter's They Live. And it is a fight scene that goes on and on. Every time you think it's over, they just pick themselves up off the ground and start
Yeah.
going at it. There is biting, there is eye gouging.
Yeah.
It's fucking great.
This is an honourable mention for me. It really is a great fight scene. This is the one in the back alley, yeah?
Yeah, you put on the sunglasses or you're going to eat that trash can. That one.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that is an excellent scene. That's a good one. All right, my number 5. This is one of the ones that I think you might argue with me on. This is one of my all-time favourite movies. It's by
Chris Farley versus the Bees.
It's by far the oldest movie making my list, and probably one of the oldest movies that we've spoken about on this show before. Not with you, but Topher and I did it back in the day. It's from Akira Kurosawa's Seven Samurai, and I'm going with The Duel. Which is, you know, look, it's very simple, but I think it's executed. Like this is a perfect film as far as I'm concerned.
Why did you think I'm going to say no? You can't have that to fucking Seven Samurai.
So the scene I'm talking about, if you remember it, is
fucking movie sucks.
Is effectively one slash. So it's when, you know, two of the Ronin, are searching for more people to join their party. If you haven't seen it, this is effectively a really good remake. If
you haven't seen it, pause the podcast now and go and sort out your life.
Yeah, this is a really good remake of The Magnificent Seven. So there's a sequence where they're searching for more people to join their party. And they come across these two guys who are having a duel with bamboo sticks. And when I say duel, I mean it lasts for about 4 seconds. They run at each other, they slash, and one of them is like, well, no, it's a draw. And the other guy is very confidently, no, I won that. Like, if that was steel, you would be dead right now. I won. And he tries to walk away, and the other guy just keeps pushing him. He's like, no, like, that was a draw. You didn't win that. He continues to push until eventually they pick up their swords, they run at each other, one slash, and the guy just falls down dead. And that is that. Like, and I just think it's brilliant. Like, yes, it's
a great scene.
It's not one of the showy hand-to-hand fights. It's not like a really amazingly choreographed fight, but it's about, I don't know, the way that it's executed and shot is just perfection.
A good fight scene doesn't need to go for like this. We've got perfect number 5s.
Yeah.
Because mine's cheesy, great film with a fight that is dragged on arguably way longer than it needs to be.
Yeah.
And you've got one of the great masterpieces of cinema with a fight that is perfect in its simplicity and brevity.
It is. It's just perfect in its simplicity. So if you haven't seen Seven Samurai, go check it out. One of my all-time favorite films. All right, why don't you give us your number 4?
My number 4, and I just realised that I said that I hadn't picked anything that anyone had mentioned, and I'm pretty sure at least one person has mentioned Daisuo's hammer fight in the hallway in Old Boy.
Okay, yeah, well, we do have crossover then. This is much higher on my list. This is epic. This is just a fantastically shot scene. It almost looks like a side-scrolling video game.
Well, so you're shooting sideways through a hall.
Yes.
It's a one shot. From my understanding, it was a single take as well.
Yeah, yeah.
This is the first and only take that was filmed, and it's so realistic. Because this is not artful in any way, shape, or form.
It's realistic in its depiction of violence, but it's also unrealistic in that it's one verse. I mean, fuck, how many people is he? Like, I don't even know, 50, 100?
But that's the beauty. And like, a friend, aforementioned Wayne Aruzu, is constantly complaining about fight scenes where you've got one protagonist surrounded by a ring of people, and they attack them one after the other.
Yes, yeah, because they'd all just run.
If they all just rushed them, it'd be fucking.
But you're right. This is in a cramped hallway.
The staging of this in the hallway, the fact that after he's wailed on a couple of them with this hammer, they're like, this guy's a fucking madman. He's got a knife sticking out of his back. He's still fighting.
Yeah.
I don't want to be first.
Yeah.
And you can see them all there on for part of it on both sides of him. Sort of, you know, they want to rush him, but no one wants to be first. And so it's believable that he can kind of take them on one at a time because he's a crazy madman with a hammer, and no one wants to be the one to cop the hammer in the head.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah,
they'll win, but the first guy's getting clocked in the head with a hammer.
Yeah, it's a fantastic movie, and that is my favorite scene from it. So yeah, much higher on my list, but excellent pick. All right, my number 4 is the only other one that I'm concerned people are going to at me about. But look, it is a martial arts film. It's the most recent one on my list, and it's not the last mention of Michelle Yeoh on my list either.
Ooh,
but I've gone with a scene from Everything Everywhere All at Once, which, as you know, I adored this movie. It was my number 1 of the year it came out. I rewatched several scenes from this trying to pick which one it was. And there's so many great ones. There's the fanny pack fight with Ki Hui Hwan.
If I had to pick one, that's the one I would pick.
That was so really close.
So inventively choreographed.
There's the one where they're racing to jump on the butt plug.
I was going to say, her versus the 2 butt plug boys.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
But I have gone for the emotional crux of the film, which is why I think people will at me. It's the fight between Evelyn and Joy at the end of the film, when the bagel hole is opening and it's trying to suck Joy in, and Evelyn and Joy are fighting.
For anyone who hasn't seen this film, they are now listening, going, "What? Fuck!"
There's no way to. If you haven't seen this film, there's no way to describe. I mean, you would have been confused by jumping on the butt plug. The bagel hole is opening
and sucking everyone in.
And Joy,
with the butt plugs.
Joy and Evelyn are fighting. It's a really nicely choreographed fight, and it's insanely well shot. As they're fighting, it's cutting between these different parallel universes that they fight in. At one point, it even cuts to them as pinatas, and they're kind of knocking into each other, and one cracks open.
I'm trying to picture this. I can picture the fanny pack fight. I can picture the other. I was trying to picture this one, and now it's coming back to me with the flicking.
Yeah,
it's them fighting in every reality.
That's right, and it just keeps cutting between all these different. But the cuts are incredibly well done. Like the positioning of the camera is such that it doesn't look like it's cutting. It looks like the background is flicking, even though they are changing outfits and everything as well. But it's just amazing, and it cuts to them as like the rocks, and they're rolling after each other. It just keeps cutting between all these different sequences, and the crux of it is, as they're getting sucked into the bagel hole, Joy is swearing at Michelle, fuck you, Evelyn, fuck you, and Evelyn is like, don't call me Evelyn, I am your mother, and she hugs her, and that's when the fight ends. It's brilliant. It's so well executed. It's such an emotional gut punch to what is a brilliant film all the way through. I love it. So that's my number 4.
I can't criticize. Look, I know I upset you when we did that film, when I gave it, I think, 3.5 out of 5 or something.
That's insane.
It was nothing to do with the acting, the direction. I think I said at the time, I think it's one of the best edited films I've ever seen in my life.
It really is, yeah.
I just thought it was a little bit long, and they needed someone there to go, Daniels, you need to trim some of this flabby shit. But no, that's an excellent pick, and it is a great scene now that I do remember it.
All right, your number 3.
My number 3 is where I start getting mocked online. I don't know if you caught a Netflix film called Day Shift.
No,
it was heard of this. Jamie Foxx and Dave Franco. Jamie Foxx plays it's a world where vampires are everywhere and everyone knows that they're there. Jamie Foxx is one of the cops that fights vampires on the day shift, because that's when you can safely go after them.
Yep.
And look, it was a fun film. It wasn't fantastic. It wasn't bad. It was a decent, fun Netflix film.
Yeah.
But there was some really good action scenes. One in particular, which barely has Jamie Foxx in it at all. It's actually 2 of his colleagues, who are brothers, played by one of the greatest living martial artists, Scott Atkins, and Steve Howie, who the name's probably not familiar, but if anyone watched the sitcom Reba, the Reba McEntire sitcom, he was the son-in-law in that. But he's now a bit of a beefcake and doing action shit. The 2 of them have this within this. They've stumbled onto this house full of vampires, and they are just fighting from room to room with an array of they've got an array of weapons like Blade does, where they and meanwhile you've got Dave Franco, who's an office nerd who's been dragged along because he's an expert or something, but he can't fight, so they're trying to protect him, and he's being a complete wuss and crying. Yeah. And then the two of them are just doing these amazing fight scenes against all of these vampires who are moving faster and stronger, etc. And it is one of the best choreographed things I've ever seen in my life, and they're being really funny about it because they're trying to one up. I got 6 in that room. Well, I got 7 in that room.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And then they do things. I'm out, and then one of them will like get a single bullet and flick it from his fingers, and the other guy will catch it like in the gun.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
It's all hyper realized, but it's so good.
Yeah, okay.
So such a great scene.
I've not even heard of this movie.
I mean, the movie's fun, but I'd just go to YouTube and look up day shift fight scene.
Yeah, okay.
And it's worth a watch. It's fucking great fun.
All right. My number 3 is my other mention of Michelle Yeoh, and it's one of the all-time great martial arts movies, but I'm going with a sword fight from, of course, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. That fight scene between the two ladies with the emerald sword.
Is this the one where they're all on the bamboo, like jumping from the top of bamboo to bamboo and stuff? Or is it the one where they're fighting over the sword?
Where they're fighting over the sword.
Yeah, gotcha.
And it's spectacularly shot. One of my favorite shots in cinema in this fight scene is it keeps cutting to this aerial view of them, and it's so good, and it's quite a long fight scene, goes for about 5 minutes, but it's just awesome. And Michelle, she keeps picking up all these different weapons, and the sword just keeps breaking them in half. And so you get
lots of really awesome shots where because Ang Lee, isn't it?
Yes.
His first kind of breakthrough one before he went and started doing Hulk and other shit.
I actually like Ang Lee's Hulk.
It's fine. But he has some cool shots where the camera like goes down the sword from point to hilt really close up and really. Yeah. And I mean, in Hong Kong that was probably de rigueur, but I remember at the time because this is an early fucking film in the West as far as Hong Kong action. Yes. And I remember we were all like, oh my God.
They're on fucking wires. The choreography of this fight scene is insane. The speed at which they are, flinging these weapons at each other and spinning their swords. It's so well choreographed and performed. I just...
And most people, I mean, there were obviously people who'd been in the West who were film nerds who liked early Jackie Chan and Sammo Hung and other things, but the mainstream cinema had not seen Hong Kong action.
Yeah.
In this sort of wuxia style where you've got wire work and you've got this, that sometimes they sped the fight scenes up.
Yes.
But it was a style of filmmaking that I don't recall anyone seeing in mainstream cinema in the West prior to Crouching Tiger.
Yeah. Yeah.
Immediately afterwards, we got Hero and we got all these, Jet Li started coming, but this film was, fuck.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so that's my number 3, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Over to you for your number 2.
My number 2, I'm assuming you haven't seen. I recommended it to you. I told you needed to see it. I'm assuming you still haven't seen Rise, Roar, Revolt, a.k.a. RRR.
I have not. And I've been meaning to. I've heard nothing but good things about this film. You brought up Sean Carney before. Of course, that was our Best of the Year episode he was on. And from memory, this was either his 2 or 1 at the time. I've heard nothing but good things.
It is maybe the most cinematic experience I've had in the last 20 years.
Yeah.
It is everything, that film. It is the best action film of that year. It is the best kind of bromance of that year. It is the best epic film of that year. It is one of the best comedies. It's the best action film. It is just such a phenomenal film experience. And there's a number of scenes I was toying with, and I've ended up going with. So without getting spoilery, you've got 2 kind of protagonists, Beam and Ram, and they are both fighting kind of for the same cause. But one of them is fighting as a rebel. One of them is kind of undercover in the enemy camp. And so you go through this arc where they encounter one another, they become friends, and then they're forced to fight against one another. Kind of not wanting to because they kind of love each other, but they both have something. One of them is trying to save a family member. The other one's got this kind of grander goal of defeating the enemy, and they have this epic fight scene where Beam arrives on a kind of a lorry that is covered with cages full of it's a menagerie of animals, from deer to wildebeest to fucking tigers and leopards and everything. And he comes crashing into the giant palatial mansion garden party, and all these animals spill out at the same time as him in this massive cinematic slow-mo arrival, and this fight scene that ensues between him and initially all of the kind of British guards, where he is literally throwing leopards at people. And then you get Ram arriving, and they face off, and one of them is next to a smashed fountain where all of the hoses from the fountain are kind of whipping around with water flying out. The other one has a backdrop of boxes of fireworks that have just gone off, and so he's got fire whipping around. And so you've got this fire and water battle where one of them's wielding hoses spewing water, the other one has got burning shit. Then you've got a scene where one of them picks up a burning brazier and has this like fire cannon fist and punches a tiger in the face. It is fucking unbelievably magnificent.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things about it. I've been meaning to get to it, but
he
it's
punches
3
a
hours
tiger
long.
in the face with he punches a tiger in the face with a burning fist.
I know, but it's 3 hours long. Do you know how many episodes of Friends I can watch in 3 hours?
I will tell you, you will not feel that. You will get to the end of this film and be, what, it's over? It feels like an hour.
Okay, all right. It's on my list. I will get to it.
We need another required viewing because I don't believe you.
All right, well, my number 2 is our crossover. It's the Hammer Fight and Old Boy. So we're back to you for your number 1.
Nice choice. Probably no surprise. My number 1 comes from Extraction 2, which is hands down the greatest action movie of the last 20 years. And I shot, I'm the nerd. There's about 4 different scenes that all could qualify. Eventually, I've gone with there's a big showdown on the roof where Hemsworth and his 2 kind of teammates are facing off against, multiple nasties. And it is the most masterfully choreographed thing I've ever seen. It's every time you get a shift in scene or they move from one room to the other, something ingenious happens. Like, how the fuck did they even think of that?
I mean, I'm sure it's fine.
I
can't argue with it because I haven't seen the movie. But the fact that we don't have the same number 1 is insane. Because
I left off some obvious favorites.
Okay, yeah.
Because either we've mentioned them a million times, or while I love them, I love them for reasons other than the fact that they're an amazing.
Okay.
I know what you're going to say, and I can't argue with it. It's in my shortlist.
Okay, because my number 1 is, of course, the fencing sword fight in The Princess Bride.
Yeah.
Which is just, I mean, look, it's my favorite movie of all time. It is, in my opinion, one of the best movies ever made. But that fight scene between the two of them, not only is it so well choreographed, it's so much fun.
If we were doing best fencing scenes, hands down.
When they swap to their left hands and they're both kind of goading each other, and it's just...
Oh, you're using Benetti's offense against me. Yes. It seemed appropriate given the uneven ground.
Yes, it is just, it's so well written. I mean, the whole movie, I'm kind of talking about the whole movie here. It's so well written. It's so well directed.
Goldman is the greatest screenwriter
I mean, he really is, yeah. And of course, Carrie Elwes at his peak. Like, I'm only semi-joking when I say I think Carrie Elwes is the most handsome man alive. But at this point in time, he most definitely was the most handsome fucking man alive.
Oh, Patrick Wilson. Yes, just a second. I'll hand the phone over.
Patrick Wilson has him beat nowadays, but Carrie Elwes at his peak was next level. And
Patrick Wilson has a certain naive charm,
but this fight scene is just so much fun. I love it so much. So, all right, there you go. I actually have 0 honourable mentions that haven't already been spoken about. So why don't you run us through some of yours?
The bathroom scene in The World's End, where Simon Pegg and co fight against, just basically beat up a bunch of aliens by ripping their limbs off and smacking them in the head with them. Fucking great stuff. Eastern Promises. Have you seen Cronenberg's Eastern Promises?
No, I haven't.
Viggo Mortensen, he plays this sort of tattooed hitman, Russian mobster kind of guy, and has a fight in a men's sauna against, I want to say, 3 sort of full suit wearing guys with knives. Yeah. And Viggo Mortensen is completely naked. So he's fighting these guys, tackle out.
Yeah.
Getting stabbed and fight and everything, and sort of almost included that just because I think from Viggo Mortensen's point of view, fucking literally a ballsy thing to do.
I actually lied. I do have 2 honourable mentions. You reminded me of one talking about bathrooms and saunas and stuff. I actually don't like the movie much, but the bathroom fight in Mission Impossible Fallout.
I was going to say, don't fucking say Fallout after saying I don't like the movie much.
I don't like the movie.
It makes you sound terrible.
It's not a good movie, but I do like that scene. And the other one, which actually is a good movie, is Bridget Jones's Diary. It's raining men fight between Colin Firth and Hugh Grant is so fucking great.
That is a good call.
It's a good fight.
It's and very that's a good pick. All your other opinions are terrible. The Elle Driver versus the Bride fight in Kill Bill Volume 1.
Yep.
Very good. If nothing else, then it ends when she fucking pulls her eye out.
Yeah.
Riggs versus Mr. Joshua from Lethal Weapon.
Yep.
And the 2 that I left off because I know we're going to mention them in a second. The bus scene from Nobody.
Yeah, actually, that was another one I considered, yeah.
Even better than that, and one of my favourite action films of the last few years, there's a 10-minute one-shot staircase hallway fight in Atomic Blonde, which is pretty fucking special.
Actually, that was another one that I did consider. So I lied about having no honourable mentions. I just didn't write them down. Well, over to the Potty Mouth listener community. Yep. Kicking it off with Julio from the Contrarians. Wonderful show. Wonderful guy. He said Ryan O'Neal versus Burt Reynolds in Nickelodeon. Can't believe more people don't talk about it.
I have not seen this. It's about the 3rd time someone's mentioned this Nickelodeon. And I'm going to look it up now because I have no fucking
I also
idea
heard about it recently, but I feel like that may have been on the Contrarians that I heard about it.
It's an old thing from the 70s. And I'm a big Ryan O'Neal fan, so I don't know why. Oh, it's Peter Bogdanovich. Maybe that's why they did it, because they've been going through Bogdanovich. I know they did Last Picture Show recently.
Yeah.
All right. I need to check this out.
All right.
I like Bogdanovich a lot.
Shane Jasprisa said clifftop sword fight in The Princess Bride, to which Melanie Pearson replied, "This is the correct answer."
Oh,
and
2 votes for Billy.
Melanie also came back with Sean Pyle from The Matrix parody. I haven't seen MTV's The Matrix parody, but Will Ferrell, Justin Timberlake, and Sean Pyle?
Who's Sean Pyle?
I have no idea. She also said the Battle of Helm's Deep, which is a good call.
That's James, a very big fight.
Luke James Human chimed in to say, "I've said it before and I'll say it again. Nothing for me beats Iko Uwais and Joe Talsim's insane showdown at the climax of The Night Comes for Us." Paul Leonido said Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, pretty much any of the fight or rooftop chase scenes.
All the votes for Billy this week?
Well, mate, what can I say? My list was
better.
Where are
my day shift lovers? Where are my day shift lovers? Come on.
And the aforementioned Paul Preziola from The Countdown had The Night Comes for Us, the final fight, the stairwell fight in Atomic Blonde, and the final fight in The Raid 2, not The Raid.
And I promised I was going to do it, and I'm going to do it. I take this as proof positive that Paul Prezzola thinks that Atomic Blonde is a better action film than all of the John Wicks put together because they didn't make his list.
Yeah, okay. Well, there you go. That's it from us. Next week, we will be getting to The Watchers. Little Junior Shyamalan having a go at it.
Yeah, that's going to suck.
I'm actually kind of keen, I have to say.
I was keen until I read the name Shyamalan about 4 times on the fucking poster. M. Night Shyamalan presents a film by fucking Little Missy Shyamalan, produced by Shyamalans and written by Shyamalans.
I am a Shyamalan defender. Here's what I'll say about
know.
Shyamalan. The guy fucking does what he wants. He swings for the fences and he doesn't land it every time. But when he does, I think it's good. I'm one of the few people in the world who actually liked Old. I thought Knock at the Cabin was good. And when, of course, then when you go to classic Shyamalan, I mean, Unbreakable, The Sixth Sense,
Unbreakable was mediocre, but he started strong. Sixth Sense, good. Signs,
I feel
good.
I feel like even to this stage, he's running about 60-40. And look, he's made a lot of films, and the films that are in the 40 are very, very bad. But you know, some of the films that are in the 60 are really high. So look,
genuinely, the only thing he's been a creative force behind, I want to say, when was The Village?
I want to say like 2008.
All right, so I'm going to say the last 15 years, just to be safe. The only thing that I think has been genuinely good is the first season of Servant. I haven't seen the rest of
Servant's
the show.
Good. I like Servant. So are you saying that you don't like Split?
I like Split, but I give him zero credit because I think all the good things about Split are the cast. I don't think the story is interesting. I don't think the direction's particularly good, but the performances are phenomenal. Well, so I give him no credit for Split.
It'll be interesting to see what we think of The Watchers next week then. So that's it from us. If you want to get in touch with us, you can do that at pottymouthradio.com. You can check out all the rest of the shows on the network. They're all listed there. And as mentioned, go join the Potty Mouth Radio listener community on Facebook, where you can have your say about topics like this. And that's it.
Go listen to Time to Die, where you can hear Billy not heal anyone apart from himself.
Yeah. I'm the healer. So if I die, I can't help you guys. What do they always say about airplanes, Dave? Put on your own face mask before you try to help anybody else.
But you then need to help the other people. You can't just put your own face mask on and then sit down.
And we'll catch you next week.
See ya.